Welcome, Mage. I'm Papa Mage, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of behind the scenes stuff with the Young Mage channel. And Rhino is here. He, but since this is a bunch of the technical stuff that we've been working on, I'm going to be doing most of it. And before we get started, I want you to know that we are sponsored by our patrons at patreon.com/mtg underscore young mage. And they have helped a lot, and you'll find out more about those in upcoming videos of how they've helped. But in this video, we're going to go over the overlays and why we've worked so hard on some of these overlays and how that's going to help the channel and a bunch of things in the future. So let me go ahead and shift over to that. And that is, all right, you've seen us play some games, and we call this page that we're on right now, Cardboard Combat. Right now, I only got one camera going. That's why you see both of us on the same camera. Uh, but normally we have me on the secondary camera and I'm running the stuff in the background. And what I'm going to do is, of course, you see that we end up uh, when a card comes up, let's say in this case we want Bruna to come up. All of a sudden Bruna comes up. Well, let me show you how we do that. So this is the back end, what we call Cardboard Combat. And this controls all of the cards. And we can scroll down and find the card that's in the deck. So what we do is the we load up the deck, and we use Scryfall to go out and grab all the information. We bring it to a local database that we have running on one of our computers. And that database includes the images of the cards, it includes prices and information about the card and the multiverse ID and all this other stuff. You'll notice that as we scroll through, everything kind of wobbles a little bit. The reason for that is that way we make sure that we know that we are getting the right card to come up. And when we click on this and we bring it up, it changes another thing in the game database to tell you what card is going to be displayed. So let me put back Cardboard Combat, and you can see we now have the sleep and we have the Dwynen showing up there. Uh, and this allows us to go through and we can put in the deck colors, we can increase and decrease the life totals, that sort of thing. And the reason why we're doing it this way, as opposed to using something like the technology and spell table, is this way we're certain that we're getting the exact card up and that it's coming in at a good resolution. Plus, the way that we're doing this, we don't have to be on the network in order to run this. We do have to be on the network to load in a deck if we don't already have the cards in the database. But, you know, this way we can be off the grid. We can do a couple of video records. We have all the stuff local. And then when we do have internet, we can go ahead and push up the video and stuff like that. So this is how we control that Cardboard Combat that we use for the gameplay videos. And we have the ability to load in decks. It doesn't look that fancy. Um, it has a list of our decks that we've loaded in. The data was uploaded, and we can delete it. It creates a deck ID based off of the absolute time. So that way we don't have two decks that are over top of each other. Because if we use the name of the deck, there's a number of times that we have 3 or 4 versions of the same deck running, just because we go through a bunch of different options for those decks. Uh, so the loading of the deck, it'll go out, it'll poll the Scryfall database, pull in the information that we need, and then if we need to grab images, we can grab those images either through Scryfall, Deckbox, or Wizards Gatherer. We've got several different ways of doing that. Now, one thing that I do want to show you, of course, is that we have, at one point we had the decks listed just by name, but this way, with us displaying the top of the card, it really helps us find those cards a lot faster, especially when it's a commander deck. And I do want to show you another thing. Down here at the bottom, we have the ability to swap out a deck. So let's set player one's deck to my Traxos deck. It doesn't change the card that's currently being displayed until I click a card, and then there's Batterskull. Now, one thing that you'll notice, let's go back to Cardboard Combat, it will automatically change the top here to Traxos, Scourge, or Krug. So that becomes the name of the deck. And as we play, that's how we can load up decks quickly and swap them out as we play. Now, I do want to show you how we're going to start doing deck tech videos. That's always been a problem for us because it's a lot of video editing to bring in the cards and all that. So we came up with an idea that I think will help us out a lot. And I'm going to switch this back over here to this. And all right, so let me load in this Kanji deck. Okay, it's going to be a deck tech that Rhino is going to be doing here pretty soon. And we have display deck. All right. So as you can see at the top, it does all the calculations. So it will break things down so you can know how many creatures, instants, sorceries, lands, all that, and give you a good idea of the mana curve. I may be working a little more on this mana curve because it starts doing some strange things in the calculations, but at least it gives you a good idea of what the mana curve of the deck is. And then we've broken it down into legendary creatures, because in a commander deck, you might have multiple legendary creatures. This one, the commander is supposed to be Kanji, but it may make sense that you might want to switch it over to Linvala or Bruna. And this way, when he talks about the deck tech, it will pop up here, and he can scroll over the card. It makes it really nice and big so you can easily read it on the screen. And it also has the prices, the TCG player price underneath. We've been trying to figure out ways of getting other companies' prices to kind of mix in and get a good average for those prices. But right now, our database is kind of limited. And the TCG player prices is probably a good reasonable place to start. Everybody, when they trade, at least as far as we've seen, everybody uses that for the trade prices. So this way we can scroll over and pop them up nice and big, and then we have our list of creatures. And you can see that we'll scroll down. One thing that you'll probably notice is that we put the artifact creatures with the creatures, plus we put them with the artifacts. We've been debating on if we wanted them in the creatures or in the artifact section. We decided to just leave them in both. There's our instants, sorceries. We'll probably have something that kind of scrolls with this that allows us to jump to those sections really quickly. But right now, it's a pretty reasonable scroll. As you can see, there's the Burner's Tart again. Yay. And Planeswalkers, can talk about lands. We were going to put a great big number on top to say how many lands, how many of each land there is, but in most cases, we're mainly going to be talking about commander decks, so pretty much everything is just one of each. In the case of basic lands, yeah, it shows down here 14 islands and 13 plains. I know that's kind of hard to see on the screen, but at least that's something we can look at and explain as we go through. And then if we want to change to a different deck, we can quickly do that. I can bring up the Elven Empire deck. This is right off of the Precon, and you can see what the everything looks like there. There's a lot of creatures, and uh, it's got the total cards being 100, total lands 21. Okay. Total cards without lands are 63. Uh, so some of these calculations might still be a little off, but they're getting they're getting a lot closer. Pretty much getting this thing refined now. So we will be able to do deck tech videos really quick. And the nice thing is we can just start recording, talk about it, uh, do a closeout, and then we're done. And so that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to show you how we just kind of switch right back over. And, I can bring up my, yeah, my lower third. I can bring up the lower third about Patreon. Say, hey, please become a patron. And really, we do need the help of our patrons because without their help, we kind of lose track of which way we want to go, and the patrons really help with that. And they have been helping out so much with getting us resources that we need for doing future videos. And we have a big project coming up this year that's going to be starting. Hopefully, we'll be launching it later this week. And Rhino's going to be doing a video about that, and we'll get that out. And hopefully, we'll get the hype going on this project as things start opening up and we start being able to meet more in person and all that. We want to be ready for that time, and that's what this project's going to be for. So uh, that's all we have for the moment. And Rhino has stepped out, so I'm going to say we have more videos coming out soon. So until then, Papa Mage is going to get back to work and finish this thing up. See you later. Bye.